I used this habit-forming method to buy a multifamily property, my first one. And that property changed not just how I looked at real estate, but how my extended family looked at real estate. It changed the trajectory of the Chef family name. This one method was taught to me by B.J. Fogg, the founder of Stanford's Behavioral Lab and the author of Tiny Habits. He taught me how to anchor a new habit to an old habit. Anchoring of habits. A habit's just an automatic behavior. We spend somewhere between 40 and 50% of our waking day in automaticity, doing automatic things. Don't believe me? Think about the last time you were in a blackout. You reached into the room to turn the light on, and you were baffled how the light didn't come on. You sat there and you fought with the switch. That's automaticity. What about the last time you drove home from work? Do you remember passing the gas station? Do you remember turning onto your block? Do you remember the last 3 exits on the highway? All times where you're just entering into automaticity. We live so much of our life in automaticity, we don't even realize it. This is how we're going to slow things down and start paying attention to things. What is anchoring one habit to another habit? It's habit stacking is what it really is. That's really what we're getting at. If you don't believe habits are that prevalent in your life, I want you right now to cross your arms. Now I want you to cross it the other way. That feels very uncomfortable, doesn't it? That's how much habits play a role in our lives. How do we get to habit stacking? Habit stacking is a method of attaching one habit to another habit. The way you do this is, I want you to look at everything you do during the day. I want you to make a list of everything you do during the day from the moment your eyes open. My eyes open. Do you immediately get out of bed? Do you roll around a little bit? Do you immediately rip the covers off? Do you reach for your phone? What are the things that you're doing in the first moments? When you rip off the covers and you roll out of bed, how do you roll out of bed, right? Do you roll out of bed? Do you rock yourself up? When your feet touch the floor, what do you do? Do you search for your slippers? Do you just stand up? Are there words or thoughts that you're having? Do you look out the window? Do you use the restroom and then take a shower and then brush your teeth? Do you brush your teeth, then use the restroom, then take a shower? Do you brush your teeth in the shower? When you get out, how are you getting dressed? This is something else that absolutely amazed me. We all put the same shoe on all the time. I always put my right shoe on first. And when I heard that, I didn't believe it. And then I started paying attention to it. I'm like, we all put our pants on. I put my right leg in first. We all that's what we do. It's habit. We don't even realize that we're doing it. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to make a list of all of these habits. The way you go to work, what you do when you sit at your desk, what you do right after dinner, what you do right after lunch. Like all of these micro moments, I want you to make a list of all these habits that you presently have. And then I want you to think about the habit that you want to build. And where can you slip that new habit in? So for instance, I said this helped me buy my first multifamily property. I wasn't used to calling brokers. But that's one of the habits I had to get into. So I made it a point that when I sat down at my desk, the first thing I did was I would reach out to a broker. I would call a broker. After I sat at my desk, I would call a broker. After I sat at my desk, I would email a broker. After I sat at my desk, I would reach out to a prospective seller. I had an entire list, 225 properties, that I was going direct to seller on. So every time I sat at my desk, I would address 5 envelopes. And that's how I got through a list of 225. I would give this suggestion to my partners. My partners actually built the list. Okay, every time you sit down at your desk, the first thing you're going to do before you do emails, Facebook, social media, take calls, whatever it was, when you sit down at your desk, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go through 5 properties. And you're going to confirm we have the proper addresses for the sellers. So you're going to research 5 properties every time you sit down at your desk. And he would do that. He would come into work. He'd sit down at his desk. He'd research his 5 properties. And then he would take care of other things that he had to do. What that did was it attached doing the new habit, reaching out to property owners or brokers, to something that we already did. We sat at our desk multiple times a day. So that meant we would get multiple contacts to either brokers or sellers a day. As we started doing this more and more, it became habitual. We didn't even think about it. In the beginning, I had to actually put a Post-it, because what I found was I was coming into my office, I was sitting down, and I was just doing what I normally do. I wasn't reaching out to brokers. So I had the habit stack. After I sit at my desk, I will do this. But what I didn't have was the actual, I wasn't picking up the phone. I wasn't making the phone call. I wasn't typing the email. I wasn't addressing the letter. So in the beginning, I had to actually use a Post-it to remind me of what my habit stack was. And then I sat at my desk and I started automatically doing it. Because when I sat at my desk, this is what it meant. You could stack any habit against anything. One example is you want to be a healthier lifestyle, right? This is something that I use. This was huge. I want a healthier lifestyle. I want to walk more. So when I came home from work, I would have my shoes laid out. I'd have my shorts laid out. I'd have everything laid out so that all I had to do was change. So the habit became, when I walked in the front door, I would immediately change into my workout clothes. And I'd go do my workout, whether that was a hike or if it was calisthenics or whatever it was. But having my clothes already there made the habit easy, and I stacked it against when I walked into the house. So when I walked into the house, I immediately changed, and then I immediately performed my workout. And that's what stacking is. It's taking one habit and stacking it against another habit. Habits have 3 components to them: a trigger, a response, and a reward. We're taking advantage of that natural progression, right? Every habit we have right now has a trigger. We see something, we hear something, we smell something, we touch something. That's the trigger. Then we have a response. We perform a certain action. And because of that response, we receive a certain reward. I have the trigger of stress. I decide that I'm going to lay on the couch and watch television so that I can remove myself from that stress. I can go into fantasy land, take my mind off of things. I'm worried about the television now. I'm not worried about life. It's a big procrastination problem. But trigger, response, reward is what makes up a habit. And when you tap into that, you grow. How do I tap into it? I tap into it like this. I set up a trigger, response, reward. I already have a habit that habit now becomes the trigger for the new habit. That's what habit stacking is. Identify all of those times, all of those habits, identify what habit you want to build, and then where can I plug this new habit into the habits I already have. And that's how you habit stack. This has helped me live a healthier lifestyle. This has helped me buy multifamily real estate. This has helped me change the trajectory of my family name. Like, I have a 20-year-old son now that's out there pounding the pavement buying real estate at 20 years old. Something I never even fathomed doing. Habit stacking works. I wanted to take supplements. I always, fish oil and vitamin K and D3, right? I need to take these supplements. And I would buy them and they would stack up. I got bottles all over the place, but I would never actually take them. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to stack this habit. Every time I come down in the morning to make a cup of coffee, I will take the vitamin D. It's a liquid, so I take the vitamin D and I squirt it into my coffee. And I take my omega-3s by pill. I haven't missed a dosage in 3 years. All because of habit stacking. Because I said that when I come down and I have my cup of coffee, I will immediately, as the coffee's dropping, I will immediately get the vitamin K and D3 out and squirt that into the cup. And then I will take my omega-3, grab my 2 pills, pop them down, and that's that. That habit stack happened immediately. It wouldn't have happened if I didn't know this technique. Guys, around here, we live up here in the numerator, not down in the denominator. I want you to go out there today and be unstoppable and absolutely crush your day. I love spending time with you. Have a very blessed day.